The big room at Central Command was filled with people. Officers, scientists, and leaders all stared at the small orange cat sleeping on the table. "You expect us to believe this?" General Sun Mi Kang asked. Her voice was sharp. She had been fighting the Virex for 6 months and had lost many soldiers. "I know it sounds strange, General," Lieutenant Tadwan said, "but we have the recordings. The Virex ship left as soon as they heard the cat purring." Dr. Hejun Lee stepped forward. He was the best exobiologist in the Korean Space Force. For weeks, he had been studying the Virex, but found no weaknesses. "May I?" he asked, pointing to the sleeping cat. Juri nodded, and Dr. Hejun gently placed a small device next to Bomb. The device had lights that moved up and down as it recorded sounds. "Please make her purr," Dr. Hejun said. Juri softly stroked Bomb's head. The cat opened her eyes and began to purr loudly. The lights on the device jumped wildly. Dr. Hejun's eyes grew wide. "Amazing," he whispered. "The frequency of her purring matches exactly the frequency the Virex used to communicate. But it's wrong somehow, like hearing your own voice played backward." "What does that mean?" asked General Sunmei. "I think," Dr. Hejun said slowly, "that when the Virex hear a cat purring, it disrupts their ability to think together. They are a hive mind, you see. They think as one. The purring might break that connection." The room was quiet. Then General Sunmei spoke. "We need more tests. Lieutenant Tawan, can your team return to where you found the Virex?" "Yes, General," Tawan said, "but I suggest we bring more cats." 3 days later, the Morning Calm was back in space. This time, they had 5 cats on board, each with special sound equipment attached to their collars. "I still can't believe we're using cats as weapons," said Do-hyun, watching the cats play in their special room. "Not weapons," Juri corrected him. "They're more like signal jammers." Dr. Hejun had come with them this time. He was running tests on the cats every few hours. "Each cat's purr is slightly different," he explained. "We need to find which one works best against the Virex." They didn't have to wait long to find out. On the second day, 3 Virex ships appeared. "They're coming fast," Minho said from the pilot's seat. "They look angry." "Get ready," Ta-1 ordered. "Dr. Hejun, prepare the cats." The Virex ships surrounded them. Strange sounds came through the communication system, clicks and high-pitched noises that hurt human ears. "They're telling us to surrender," Juri translated. "They say they will destroy us in 5 minutes." "Now, Dr. Hejun," Ta-1 said. Dr. Hejun pressed a button. Suddenly, the sound of 5 cats purring filled the ship and blasted into space through external speakers. The effect was immediate. The Virex ships began to shake and move in strange patterns, like they had lost control. "It's working," Dr. Hejun shouted over the purring. The different purring sounds together are creating a complete disruption. One of the Virex ships turned and fired, but the shot went wide, missing the Morning Calm by a large distance. "They can't aim properly," said Do-hyun. "They can't think together." For 10 minutes, the cats purred, and the Virex ships moved erratically. Then, just as before, they turned and fled. "Record everything," Dr. Hejun said excitedly. "This proves my theory." Back at Central Command, General Sunmai listened to their report with growing hope. "So cats are our secret weapon," she said, looking at the 5 cats now sleeping in a corner of the room. "How quickly can we train more?" "That's not all, General," Dr. Hejun said. "I've been studying the purring patterns. With the right technology, we might be able to make devices that copy cat purring, but stronger and focused." General Sunmi nodded. "Then that's what we'll do. Lieutenant Tawan, I'm promoting you to captain. You will lead our first feline integration brigade." Taiwan looked surprised, then nodded firmly. "Yes, General. For Earth." As they left the meeting, Juri whispered to Taiwan, "Who would have thought that humanity's best hope would have 4 legs and whiskers?" Taiwan smiled for the first time in months. Sometimes the best weapons are the ones the enemy never sees coming. "Welcome to Operation Whisker," Captain Taiwan said to the 50 soldiers standing before him. It had been 3 weeks since the discovery that cat purring confused the Virex. Now they were in a large training room at the main base. 50 soldiers and 50 cats, ready to begin training. "I know some of you think this is stupid," Taiwan continued, "using cats to fight aliens. But this works. And right now, it's the only thing that works." The soldiers looked at the cats sitting in special carriers. Some cats were sleeping. Others watched the humans with curious eyes. Juri stepped forward with Bomb in her arms. "Each of you will be paired with 1 cat. You must learn to work together. Your cat is not just a pet. It is your partner." At the back of the room, 2 people watched with interest. They were Dong-hyuk and Jo-yeon, the best engineers in the Korean Space Force. They had been working day and night on special equipment. "Are the suits ready?" General Sunma asked them. Dong-hyuk nodded. "Yes, General. The first 10 are ready for testing." Jo-yeon opened a case on the table. Inside was a small light suit made to fit a cat. It looked like a tiny spacesuit but with special devices attached. "The suits will protect the cats in battle," Jo-yeon explained, "and they have built-in sound amplifiers. They will make the purring 10 times louder and directed at the enemy." General Sunma picked up the suit. It was lighter than she expected. "The cats will hate these," she said. "That's why we need the training," Dong-hyuk replied. "The cats must get used to wearing them. And the soldiers must learn to keep their cats calm during battle." Training began that day. For many soldiers, it was their first time working with animals. There were scratches, bites, and lots of frustration. "This is impossible," complained Sergeant Ho-jin after his cat, Moon, ran away for the 3rd time. "We can't take cats into battle." "Yes, we can," Taiwan said firmly. "We just need to understand them better." Dr. Hejun helped with the training. He taught the soldiers about cat behavior and how to gain their trust. "Cats are not like dogs," he explained. "They don't follow orders. You must make them want to stay with you." Slowly, the soldiers and cats began to form bonds. Each day, the training got easier. The cats learned to wear their special suits for longer periods. The soldiers learned to keep their cats calm during loud noises. Taiwan chose a battle-scarred gray cat named Dole. The cat was old and had 1 ear missing. No one else wanted him. "Why that ugly old cat?" asked Do-hyun. "He looks half dead." "He's a survivor," Taiwan said simply. "Like us." To everyone's surprise, Dole turned out to be the best cat in training. He stayed calm during simulated battles. His purring was louder than any other cat's, and he never left Taiwan's side. After 6 weeks of training, General Sunma came to inspect the Feline Integration Brigade. "Show me what they can do," she ordered. Taiwan nodded to his team. The soldiers put their cats in their combat suits. Then they ran through a battle simulation. Loud noises, flashing lights, and fake explosions filled the room. The cats, protected by their suits and calmed by their human partners, began to purr. The sound, amplified by the suits, was so strong it made the walls vibrate. "Impressive," General Sunma said when it was over. "But will it work in a real battle?" "We'll find out soon," Taiwan replied. "The Virex are attacking our colony on Proxima Centauri. We leave tomorrow." That night, Taiwan sat alone in his quarters with Dole. The old cat purred softly as Taiwan stroked his fur. "Tomorrow, we find out if this crazy plan works," he told the cat. "The fate of humanity might depend on how loud you can purr." Dole blinked slowly at him, then went back to sleep. For the first time since the war began, Taiwan felt something like hope. 2 months after the battle at the moon base, things had changed. What began as a military partnership had become something more. Soldiers and their cats were no longer just fighting together. They were living together, understanding each other in new ways. Captain Ta-One sat in his quarters, watching his cat Dole clean himself. The old battle-scarred cat had saved Ta-One's life 3 times now. During their last mission, Dole had suddenly hissed and jumped from Ta-One's backpack. Seconds later, a Virex soldier appeared from around the corner. Ta-One had just enough time to react. "How did you know?" Ta-One asked the cat, not expecting an answer. Dole looked up at him, blinked slowly, then went back to cleaning. Similar stories were coming from all parts of the feline brigade. Cats somehow sensing Virex before human technology could detect them. Cats leading soldiers away from danger. Cats finding safe paths through battlefields. In her lab, Minna Choi studied these reports with growing excitement. "It's not just the purring," she told Dr. Hejun. "The cats are changing. They're becoming more aware." Dr. Hejun nodded. "I've noticed it too. Their brain scans show increased activity in areas we don't usually see in cats." Minna showed him data from her latest tests. "Look at this. Their purring is changing too. It's adapting to match the latest Virex communication frequencies." "That's impossible," Dr. Hejun said. "How would they know the frequencies are changing?" "I don't know, but they do." Later that day, Captain Ta-One met with them to hear their findings. "Are you saying the cats are evolving?" he asked. "Yes," said Minna, "but much faster than normal evolution. It's like they're learning and adapting within their own lifetimes." "There's more," added Dr. Hejun. "I've been studying Earth's fossil record. There's evidence of insect species similar to the Virex that went extinct about 10,000 years ago. The same time cats were first domesticated," Minna said quietly. Ta-One looked at them both. "Are you suggesting what I think you are?" Dr. Hejun nodded. "Cats might have evolved specifically to fight Virex-like creatures. And now, when faced with the actual Virex, those old abilities are being reawakened." It was a big idea, too big for Ta-One to fully understand. But he had seen enough strange things in this war to believe it might be true. Across the base, other soldiers were noticing changes in their feline partners too. Sergeant Du-hyun, once doubtful about cats, now went nowhere without his cat Moon. The small white cat had saved his team by leading them through a collapsing building during a Virex attack. "It's like he knew exactly which way was safe," Du-hyun told Juri as they ate dinner. "He kept mewing until we followed." Juri nodded. "Bomb does the same thing. Yesterday she started purring differently. The sound made my head hurt a little." 2 hours later, we got reports that the Virex had changed their communication frequency again. "They're adapting to fight the Virex," said Du-hyun, "just like we are." That night, General Sunmei called an emergency meeting. All senior officers and scientists gathered in the command center. "We have new intelligence," she said grimly. "The Virex are planning something big. Their entire fleet is gathering. We think they plan to attack Earth directly." The room went silent. Earth's defenses were strong, but not strong enough to stop the entire Virex fleet. "How much time do we have?" asked Ta-One. 3 days, said General Sunmei. "Maybe 4. Dr. Hejun stepped forward. "I have an idea, but it's risky." He explained his plan. Instead of using cats in small groups, they would gather all Earth's cats, millions of them, and broadcast their purring across all communication channels at once. "The combined effect might disrupt the entire Virex hive mind," he said. "But we've never tried anything on this scale. If it fails, we lose Earth," said General Sunmei. "If we do nothing, we lose anyway," replied Dr. Hejun. Ta-One looked down at Dole, who sat calmly by his feet. The cat looked back at him with eyes that seemed to understand everything. "Let's do it," said Ta-One. "Operation Roar." The fate of Earth would rest on the purring of cats. It seemed crazy, but in this strange war, crazy had worked before. and the bond between humans and cats had never been stronger. The red sky of Proxima Centauri looked like blood above the human colony. Sirens wailed as people ran to safety bunkers. In the distance, 5 large Virex ships landed and began dropping troops. Captain Ta-1 watched from the command center. His feline integration brigade was the last line of defense. The colony's regular soldiers were already fighting, but they were losing ground quickly. "The Virex have broken through the north gate," reported Lieutenant Jury. "They'll reach the civilian area in 20 minutes. Ta-1 nodded grimly. "It's time. Get the team ready." The 50 members of the brigade prepared for battle. Each soldier wore standard combat gear, plus a special backpack. Inside each backpack, a cat waited in its combat suit. "Remember your training," Ta-1 told them. "Keep your cats calm until we reach position. Then, on my signal, activate the amplifiers." Sergeant Do-hyun looked nervous. "What if it doesn't work? What if the cats panic?" "Then we die," Ta-1 said simply. "And the colony falls." They moved out in 5 teams of 10. Ta-1 led Team 1 to the north gate, where the fighting was worst. Regular soldiers were falling back, their weapons barely slowing the Virex advance. The Virex looked even more terrifying in person. They stood as tall as humans, but had 6 legs and hard outer shells. Their heads had huge compound eyes and clicking mandibles. They moved together in perfect formation, like parts of one body. "Hold this line," Ta-1 ordered as his team took position. The other teams spread out to cover different areas. Through his radio, Ta-1 could hear them getting into position. "Team 2 in position. Team 3 ready. Team 4 standing by. Team 5 in place." Ta-1 opened his backpack. Dole looked up at him, calm despite the noise of battle. The cat was wearing his combat suit, which glowed softly with power. "All teams," Ta-1 said into his radio. "Release cats and activate amplifiers on my mark." He took a deep breath. Now, 50 soldiers opened their backpacks. 50 cats emerged, each wearing a glowing combat suit. The cats moved close to their human partners, many beginning to purr naturally from the contact. Ta-1 pressed the button on Dole's suit. The amplifier powered up with a soft hum. Dole's purring, normally quiet, became as loud as a small engine. All around the battlefield, the sound of amplified cat purring filled the air. The sound waves, directed toward the Virex, hit them like a physical force. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Virex front line stopped moving forward. Individual Virex began to shake and move erratically. Some turned and bumped into each other. Others fell to the ground, their legs twitching. "It's working," Jury shouted, her cat bomb purring loudly in her arms. The Virex in the back lines still moved forward, pushing against their confused front lines. The alien force became a chaotic mess of bodies. "Forward," Ta-1 ordered. "Keep the cats purring and push them back." The brigade advanced, their cats purring disrupting the Virex hive mind more with every step. Regular soldiers, seeing the Virex confusion, joined the advance. For the first time since the war began, humans pushed the Virex back. At the main Virex ship, a larger alien watched the battle turn. This was the Queen, the center of the hive mind. She felt her connection to her soldiers weakening, breaking apart under the strange sound waves. She gave a new command: retreat. The Virex began to pull back, moving awkwardly without their perfect coordination. They left hundreds of their own behind, too confused to move. As the Virex ships lifted off, cheers erupted from the human forces. The colony was saved. Ta-1 knelt down and stroked Dole. The old cat purred contentedly, not knowing he had just helped win the first human victory of the war. "Get me General Sunma," Ta-1 said to Jury. "Tell her Operation Whisker was a success, and tell her we need more cats. Many more cats." News of the victory spread quickly. On Earth and across human colonies, people began to look at their cats with new respect. The animals that humans had kept as pets for thousands of years had become their most important weapon. And the war had only just begun. The moon base shook as another Virex blast hit its shields. Warning lights flashed red throughout the base. In the command center, Captain Ta-1 watched the screens with growing concern. "Shield power down to 40%, reported a technician. "We can't take much more of this." "Where are they?" Ta-1 asked. 20 Virex ships, answered Lieutenant Jury. "More than we've ever seen in one place. And these are different. Our sensors show they have new armor." 2 months had passed since the victory at Proxima Centauri. The moon base had become the center of Earth's defense. Inside were 5,000 specially bred cats, each with purring frequencies proven to disrupt the Virex hive mind. But now the Virex had come to destroy them. "They know what we're doing here," said Surgeon Du-Yun. "They're targeting the cat breeding facility." Another blast rocked the base. Alarms blared louder. "Shields at 30%, called the technician. 10 minutes until failure." "Get all fighters in the air," ordered Ta-1. "Deploy the feline brigades in defensive positions. We can't lose this base." Soldiers rushed to their stations. The feline brigades, now numbering 500 members, each took their cats and moved to battle positions. But the Virex had indeed adapted. As they broke through the outer defenses, Ta-1 saw why this attack was different. The new Virex soldiers wore strange devices over their hearing organs. "They're blocking the cat purring frequencies," Dr. Hejun said, watching from the science station. "Our primary weapon is less effective." The feline brigades fought bravely, their cats purring at maximum amplification. The sound slowed the Virex, but didn't stop them completely. "They're still feeling some effects," noted Jure, "but not enough." "Shield failure in 3 minutes, announced the technician. Ta-1 looked at the map of the base. The breeding facility was in the central area, protected by multiple barriers. If the Virex reached it, thousands of cats would be lost. "We need a new strategy," he said. "The fixed amplifiers aren't working well enough against these adapted Virex." Juri suddenly stood up, her eyes wide. "What if we don't use fixed amplifiers? What if we let the cats move freely?" "What?" asked Du-Yun. "They'd be killed instantly." "Not if we create enough chaos first," Juri said. "The cats are small and fast. If they move around unpredictably, their purring will come from different directions. The Virex won't be able to block all frequencies from all directions." Ta-1 thought for a moment, then nodded. "It's worth trying. Nothing else is working." He gave new orders quickly. The feline brigade members would set up a defensive ring. Then, on his signal, they would release their cats from their suits, allowing them to move freely within the protected area. "This is crazy," muttered Du-Yun. "Sometimes crazy works," replied Ta-1. When the shields failed, the Virex poured into the base. They moved in perfect formation toward the center, their new armor and hearing devices making them nearly unstoppable. The human defenders fell back to their planned positions, forming a ring around the breeding facility. Each soldier had their cat ready. "Now," ordered Ta-1 when the Virex were fully inside the ring. 500 cats were released from their combat suits. They scattered in all directions, many running right between the legs of the advancing Virex. The cats, frightened by the noise and strange smells, began to purr loudly as they searched for hiding places. The effect was immediate and surprising. The Virex formation broke apart. Their hearing devices, designed to block purring from a single direction, couldn't handle the sound coming from hundreds of different places. Individual Virex began to spin around, trying to locate the sources of the disruptive sounds. Some fell over. Others began to attack their own kind, completely confused. "It's working," shouted Jure. "Their devices can't block purring from multiple directions at once." Ta-1 ordered the human fighters to advance. They pushed into the confused Virex, driving them back toward the entrance. As the battle turned, the Virex queen realized her soldiers were losing connection to her mind. She ordered a full retreat. 2 hours later, the moon base was secure again. The human defenders had won, but at a cost. Many cats had been killed in the fighting. Juri found Bomb hiding under a console, still purring softly. She picked up her cat and held her close. "You saved us all," she whispered. Taiwan walked through the damaged base, his old cat Dole limping beside him. They had survived the Virex's best attempt to stop them, but he knew the war was far from over. Lieutenant Taiwan Kim stood at the viewing deck of the scout ship Morning Calm *. His eyes were fixed on the stars. The ship moved slowly at the edge of human space. This was their 5th day looking for signs of the enemy. "Lieutenant, we have something," said Juri Park. Her fingers moved quickly across her communication panel. "Unknown signals coming from the dark side of the moon ahead." Taiwan nodded. "Wake the team. Full alert." 3 minutes later, the scout team gathered on the bridge. 6 of Earth's best soldiers, all from Korea's Special Space Forces. They had been chosen for this mission because they were the best at finding things without being found themselves. "What do we know?" asked Sergeant Do Hyun Baek, the weapons expert. "Not much," said Taiwan. "But the signals match what we've seen before. The Virex are here." Everyone went quiet. The Virex had appeared 6 months ago. Since then, they had destroyed 3 human outposts. No one had seen them up close and lived. All they knew was that the Virex looked like giant insects and used sound to talk to each other. "I don't think they've seen us yet," said Jure. She was the youngest on the team, but the best with communications. "Their signals are calm, not battle-ready." "Then we watch and learn," said Taiwan. "This is our chance to understand them." The Morning Calm slid behind an asteroid and powered down to avoid detection. Only the most basic systems stayed on. Hours passed. The team took turns watching the Virex ship. It was huge, 10 times bigger than their scout ship. It looked like a giant beetle with sharp points coming out from all sides. "Lieutenant," whispered Juri suddenly, "I have something strange in my quarters. Can you come?" Taiwan followed her to her small room. There, sitting on her bed, was a small orange cat. "Bomb, be quiet," Juri said to the cat, which was starting to meow. "You brought a cat on a military mission." Taiwan could not believe it. "She's my therapy cat. I can't sleep without her," Juri explained. "She's been perfect until now. I don't know why she's making noise." Just then, an alarm sounded. "The Virex ship is moving." Do Hyun's voice came through the speaker. "They're coming toward us." They ran back to the bridge. The giant alien ship was turning, its weapons powering up. "They found us," said Min-ho Choi, the pilot. "Should we run?" "No," said Taiwan. "We need to learn more. Hold position." Suddenly, a small orange shape darted across the bridge. "Bomb!" cried Juri, chasing her cat. "How did you get out?" The cat jumped onto the main control panel. As Juri grabbed for her, the ship's external speakers activated. "No," Taiwan shouted, but it was too late. Through the speakers came the sound of Bomb purring. The loud, rumbling purr filled the bridge and was broadcasting into space. The team froze, waiting for the Virex to attack. But something strange happened. The alien ship stopped moving toward them. Then, slowly, it began to turn away. "They're leaving." Do Hyun couldn't believe it. "The cat," said Jure, holding Bomb close. "They started coming when she meowed, but they're leaving when she purrs." Taiwan stared at the small cat, now happily purring in Juri's arms. "Continue broadcasting that sound," he ordered. "And someone get me Central Command. They need to hear this." The Virex ship moved further away, seeming almost to shake as it retreated. "All this time," whispered Minho, "all our weapons, our technology, our strategies, and what stops them is a cat purring." Taiwan looked at his team's surprised faces, then back at the cat. For the first time since the Virex had appeared, humans had found something that worked against them. Not a weapon or a shield, but a simple sound that had existed on Earth for thousands of years. "Record everything," said Tadwan. "Every sound, every reaction. We're going home with the first good news in this war." Bomb looked up at the humans staring at her and purred even louder, not knowing she had just changed the course of the war. Dr. Hejun Lee hadn't slept in 3 days. His lab at Central Command was filled with screens showing data from the battle at Proxima Centauri. On one table lay a dead Virex soldier. It was the first intact specimen humans had captured. "More coffee, Doctor?" asked his assistant. Hejun nodded without looking up. He was studying a scan of the Virex brain. It was unlike anything he had seen before. "They don't think like we do," he muttered. "Their brains are like radio receivers." The door opened and Captain Tadwan entered with General Sunmei. They had just returned from Proxima Centauri. "You wanted to see us, Doctor?" asked the general. Hejun looked up, his tired eyes suddenly bright with excitement. "I figured it out," he said. "Why the cats work against them. Look here." He pointed to a strange organ in the Virex brain scan. "This is not a normal brain. The Virex don't think individually. Each one receives thoughts from the Queen. They share one mind spread across many bodies." "We already knew they were a hive mind," said General Sunmei. "Yes, but now I know exactly how it works," Hejun replied. "The Queen sends signals at a certain frequency. Each Virex receives these signals through this organ. When cats purr, the sound waves interfere with this frequency. Like radio static," Tadwan said, understanding. "Exactly. When a Virex hears cat purring, it loses connection to the hive mind. It becomes confused, like a computer without a program." General Sunmei nodded slowly. "So the more cats we have purring, the more confused they become. And I've found something else," Hejun continued. He showed them a recording from the battle. "Different cats have different effects. Some purr at frequencies that cause more disruption. We need to find cats with the most disruptive purrs," General Sunmei said, "and breed more of them." That was how the feline breeding program began. All across Earth, cats were tested for their purring frequencies. The best were brought to special breeding centers. Not everyone approved of this plan. At one such center, scientist Minna Choi watched the cats with concern. "We're using them as weapons," she said to Juri, who was visiting. "It doesn't feel right." "Would you prefer we lose the war?" Juri asked. "These cats are saving human lives." Minna stroked a small black cat in her lap. "I know, but who speaks for the cats? They didn't choose this war. Some might say they've been preparing for it," said Juri. "Have you heard Dr. Hejun's new theory?" "About what?" "He thinks cats might have evolved specifically to fight the Virex. There's evidence the Virex visited Earth thousands of years ago. Maybe cats developed purring as a defense." Minna looked thoughtful. "So we didn't domesticate cats. They chose to stay with us, to protect us. It would explain why they never fully became pets like dogs did," Juri said. "They were waiting." As the breeding program continued, engineers Dong Hyuk and Jai Yun designed better cat combat suits. The new suits were lighter, stronger, and had more powerful amplifiers. But the Virex were not idle. Reports came from frontier colonies of new types of Virex soldiers. These moved differently and seemed less affected by cat purring. At a meeting with military leaders, Taiwan shared the new intelligence. "The Virex are adapting," he said. "They're creating soldiers with modified hearing organs. Our advantage won't last forever." "Then we must strike now," said General Sunmei, "before they can fully adapt. We've established a major cat breeding facility on the moon base. In 3 months, we'll have enough cats with optimal purring frequencies to launch a major offensive. The Virex will be expecting us to use cats now," Tadwan warned. "They'll have countermeasures." "Then we'll need to be smarter," said General Sunmei. "Dr. Hejun is working on new ways to use cat purring, and our engineers are developing better amplification technology." The race was on. Humans rushing to breed more special cats, the Virex rushing to adapt to this unexpected threat. And in the middle, the cats purred on, unaware of their crucial role in the war for humanity's survival. 6 months had passed since the Great Battle. Earth was healing. Cities damaged in the fighting were being rebuilt, and something no one had expected was happening. Humans were talking with the Virex. Admiral Ta-Won Kim, recently promoted, stood in the large meeting room of the new Peace Center. Next to him was his ever-present companion, Dole. The old cat had a new collar now, with a small medal hanging from it, the highest honor Earth could give. "Are you ready?" asked Ju-Rei, now a captain herself. "As ready as I'll ever be," Ta-Won replied. The doors opened. A group of Virex entered the room. They looked different now. The hard shells that had once made them look so threatening were decorated with colorful patterns. Around their hearing organs, they wore special devices, not to block sound, but to help them hear as individuals. Leading them was a Virex larger than the others. This was not the queen who had led the attack on Earth. This was her daughter, a new queen who wanted peace. "Greetings, Admiral Kim," said the translator standing between the humans and Virex. The translator spoke the clicking Virex language, then turned back to the humans. "Queen Harmony welcomes you and thanks you for this meeting." Admiral Ta-Won nodded respectfully. "Please tell her we are honored by her presence." As the formal greetings continued, Dr. Hejun and Minna watched from nearby. They had made amazing discoveries in recent months. "It's still hard to believe," Minna whispered. "The Virex were running away all along." What she meant was the truth they had learned after establishing communication with individual Virex separated from their hive mind. The Virex had not attacked humans out of hatred or a desire to conquer. They had been running from their own enemies, a terrible force from deep space that had destroyed the Virex homeworld. "Fear makes people do terrible things," Dr. Hejun replied. "Even aliens." The Virex had found Earth and saw humans using resources they needed. In their fear and desperation, they attacked. Their hive mind, which helped them survive as a species, also made it hard for them to understand other forms of life. Now things were different. After the Great Purring broadcast, thousands of Virex had been disconnected from the old Queen's control. These free Virex, as they called themselves, wanted a new kind of life, one where they could think as individuals while still being part of a community. And strangely, cats were helping make this possible. In the center of the meeting room, a small orange cat named Ha sat on a special pillow. She was General Sunmi's cat, chosen for her calm nature. As the meeting continued, Ha began to purr softly. The Virex queen moved closer to the cat, her large eyes showing interest rather than fear. "She says the purring is pleasant now," said the translator. At a low volume, it helps her think clearly as an individual while still maintaining her connection to her people. This was the most surprising discovery of all. The same cat purring that had disrupted the Virex hive mind could, at the right volume, help them balance their collective consciousness with individual thought. Cats were no longer weapons. They had become bridges between species. As the meeting progressed, more cats were brought in. Some sat with humans, others walked freely around the room. The Virex, once so terrified by these small creatures, now watched them with something like respect. One Virex diplomat even sat down on the floor, allowing Dole to approach. The old battle-scarred cat sniffed the alien carefully, then did something that made everyone in the room freeze in surprise. Dole climbed onto the Virex's lap and curled up, purring loudly. The Virex remained perfectly still, its compound eyes blinking rapidly. "This is comfortable," the translator said, conveying the Virex's thoughts. "I feel both connected and free." Admiral Ta-Won smiled. This was what they had fought for, though they hadn't known it at the time. Not just survival, but understanding. Not just peace, but friendship between different kinds of life. The war had ended not with destruction, but with purring. Cats, the small animals humans had lived with for thousands of years, had saved humanity. And now they were helping humanity build something even more important, a peaceful future among the stars. As the peace talks continued, the room filled with the gentle sound of cats purring and aliens learning to speak as individuals. It was the sound of hope. The sky above Earth was filled with stars. Then suddenly, it was filled with Virex ships, more than 1,000 of them, darkening the view like a metal cloud. In homes across Earth, people huddled in fear. Parents held their children close. Everyone knew what was coming. The Virex had come to end humanity. In the Central Command bunker deep under Seoul, Captain Ta-1 stood with General Sunmei and the other leaders. They watched the screens showing the Virex fleet. "They brought everything they have," said General Sunmei. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed worry. "So did we," replied Ta-1. For 3 days, they had prepared. Messages had gone to every corner of Earth. Bring your cats to local collection centers. Millions of cats had been gathered. Each broadcasting center had hundreds of them, ready for Operation Roar. Earth's defense fleet rose to meet the Virex. Brave pilots in fighter ships flew toward the alien armada. But there were too many Virex ships. Human fighters fell like rain. "First line of defense has failed," reported a technician. "The Virex will reach atmosphere in 10 minutes. Ta-1 looked down at Dole. The old cat sat calmly by his feet, as if this was just another normal day. "Begin Phase 2, ordered General Sunmei. Ground-based weapons opened fire. Huge energy beams shot up from Earth toward the Virex ships. Some alien vessels exploded. Others were damaged. But still they came. "They're adapting to our weapon frequencies," said Dr. Hejun, watching the data. "The next shots will be less effective." 5 minutes until they reach major cities," said the technician. General Sunmei took a deep breath. "Captain Ta-1, begin Operation Roar." Ta-1 nodded and pressed a button on his console. "All stations, commence cat purring broadcast. Maximum power." Across Earth, in hundreds of broadcasting centers, technicians turned on special microphones. The purring of millions of cats was collected, amplified, and sent out on all frequencies. The sound was broadcast through regular channels, through defense systems, through every device that could transmit a signal. The purring filled the air, the radio waves, the data streams. It went up to the Virex fleet in a wave of sound unlike anything ever heard before. On the screens in Central Command, they saw the results immediately. Virex ships began to drift. Some spun in circles. Others crashed into each other. The perfect formation broke apart into chaos. "It's working," shouted Juri. "Their hive mind is breaking down." But not all the ships were affected. Some continued toward Earth, their weapons powering up. "They shielded some ships against the purring," said Dr. Hejun. "Not many, but enough to cause serious damage." General Sunmei faced the hard truth. "We need more power. We need to increase the broadcast strength." "We're already at maximum," said a technician. Minna stepped forward. "Not quite. There's one more thing we can try." She explained quickly. The cats at the broadcasting centers were in special rooms. They were purring, but they could purr louder if they were with their human partners. "The bond between cat and human makes the purring stronger," she said. "I've measured it in my lab." Ta-1 understood immediately. "Open the broadcasting center doors. Let people find their cats." The order went out. Across Earth, the doors to the cat-holding areas opened. People rushed in, looking for their pets. In Seoul, Ta-1 left the command center and ran to the nearest broadcasting station. Dole followed close behind. When they reached the cat-holding area, chaos reigned. Hundreds of people were there, calling for their cats. Ta-1 found a small room with a microphone. He picked up Dole and held him close. "Time to save the world, old friend," he whispered. Dole began to purr, louder than Ta-1 had ever heard before. All around the world, the same thing was happening. The purring grew stronger, deeper, more powerful. In space, the remaining Virex ships shuddered. Even the shielded ones began to lose control. The Virex Queen, at the center of the hive mind, felt her connection to her soldiers breaking completely. For the first time in her long life, the Queen felt something new: fear. The last Virex ships turned away from Earth. The great fleet, once so mighty, now fled in disorder. Earth was saved, and the last sound on the battlefield was the purring of millions of cats, content in the arms of the humans they had protected.